Ooh, good evening, everybody. This is going to be my Halloween edition of my movie reviews. And tonight I'm going to be reviewing for you my favorite horror movie, The Evil Dead. And I'm not talking about the remake, I'm talking the original with Bruce Campbell, one of my favorite actors. So there we go. This is the special edition. It's got lots of special features on it. This is my favorite horror movie for a lot of reasons. What I love about it more than anything is that it pokes fun at human insanity. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's a lot of fun to watch. It's very campy. It's incredibly gory, but the gore really becomes more and more extreme as the movie goes on until it crescendos into this all-out gore fest by the end. So, for those of you who know nothing about this movie, it's a cult classic. It came out in the late 70s. Actually, I think it came out in 1980. 1982, it says here. But it was filmed in 1979. I'm going to show you a poster. That's the original poster from the movie right there. For those of you who don't know the plot of the movie, it's just basically these 5 teenagers, 3 girls and 2 boys, that go to a cabin in the middle of the woods just to have a little vacation, you know, from their college, like a little college vacation. The main character in it is a guy named Ash, played by Bruce Campbell, who's gone on to become a huge B-movie, kind of movie star. Like, he's not really a Hollywood movie star, but, and yet he has millions of fans all over the world. He's known for being, like, the kind of most popular B-movie star in the world. He's been in lots and lots of movies, but this was his breakthrough role. And the movie, starts with them going to this cabin, and it's really creepy. It's just this cabin that's all ramshackle in the middle of, of a totally deserted woods. And just the woods themselves look creepy. Right away, the film has atmosphere to it, and it also has a sense of humor to it. It was really the first horror movie of its time to be humorous. And it was also filmed in a very unique way. The camera angles are, Sam Raimi is very unique in the way he positions the camera in his movies, and this movie, was his first movie to be released in theaters, other than a few shorts he did, and it really showcases his very unique style. There's camera shots that are like from a bird's eye angle and down from the floor looking up. The camera spins and does crazy things, and there's lots of close-up shots. The only way I can describe his filming style is psychedelic. It's just very unusual, but really cool too. The film had a very low budget. They were barely able to scrap together the money to make it, but in spite of the low budget, the special effects worked pretty good. They get haunted by these deadites, which are these evil forces living in the woods that start to come into the cabin and terrorize them, and one by one they begin to transform into these evil deadites. The movie doesn't really get gory until about halfway into it, but once it starts getting gory, it doesn't let up. There's a lot of lead up, a really great kind of feeling of tension, and it really builds the tension really well, so that by the time the people get possessed and start killing each other, you're just totally on the edge of your seat. There's also, like I said before, a lot of humor to this movie. Lots of jokes that really are not in the best taste, but they work. The movie doesn't take itself too seriously, like I said. It's rather campy, but in a good way, like not in a bad way. It's just campy. Forgive me, my door keeps slamming open and shut because I got my window open, trying to get some fresh air in here. It's unusually warm for, November, like the end of October evening. It's like 15 degrees out right now, so I had to open my window. But, yeah, like I was saying, it's very campy, but in a cool way, not in a cheap, I guess some people might say it's cheesy and not get it. But I really love campy movies, and this is just, like, really campy, but just really fun to watch too. Yeah, it's pretty gory. Pretty much the goriest horror movie made up until that point. And it keeps escalating. There's a scene in particular, just in case you're sensitive, beware. But, you know, one of the Deadites, like after he's possessed, gets chopped up with an axe. And by the end, it's basically just Ash left alive in the cabin, the character played by Bruce Campbell. And I love him as a character. You know, he's not the most intellectual guy. You know, he's kind of an idiot. But at the same time, he's very brave, very strong. He really holds his own against these Deadites, these evil forces. And my favorite scene in the movie is when they're doing everything, these evil forces are doing everything in their power to terrorize the hell out of him. And it's a very trippy scene, you know. He reaches his hand into a mirror and it goes right into the mirror, and then he pulls it out and he's screaming, you know. And another really awesome scene, which is totally almost like the Three Stooges, but with blood, is when he's in the basement and the walls literally start bleeding, and the you know, blood starts pouring down the walls and down this projection screen and into all the light bulbs and fixtures. So yeah, that's my favorite scene in the movie. And maybe I should talk about a little bit about the look of the movie. It's very atmospheric. The cabin is a real cabin. It was not a cabin that they built. It was a real cabin that they cleaned out themselves to make the movie in. And it really is in the middle of nowhere. And you really get that sense of how real and believable it is. Yeah, and there's just some really cool effects in the film. Very simply done, like one effect where you see, you know, when they basically find this book called the Book of the Dead, and they think it's a joke. They don't think it's serious, so they start reciting all these passages from what they hear on this tape recorder. It's a professor that came to study the book in the cabin, and he's reciting all these oaths and spells which bring back the spirits. And of course, being the idiot that he is, this, you know, one guy, you know, starts reciting the passages, and that's what brings the evil out of the woods to torment them. And you see the leaves they show outside, all this smoke starts rising up out of the ground, and then the ground opens up and this evil red light spilling out. It's a very cool effect, but it was done so simply, just by putting a few wooden boards and then covering them with leaves, you know, and they dug a hole underneath and put a red light in there. And then they had some guys, like, out of sight at the back, you know, kind of with ropes on, like, kind of on rope. Like, they had ropes around the boards and pulled them up and shook them as they pulled them up, so it looks like the ground's opening up. So there's an example of how, you know, an effect was done in it. And also a shaky cam effect, where the camera moves forward really fast and smooth, like just moves forward and like shakes like this. And that was done basically by them sitting on a bicycle sometimes, or just sitting on a little motorized vehicle. And then they had the camera on a wooden board, you know, attached, basically bolted to a wooden board, and the guy at the front would hold it and shake it like this as they moved forward through the shot. So it had a lot of very ingenious kind of camera angles, and it truly is a terrifying movie too, even though it's really campy and funny, a lot of it. It is truly terrifying, especially seeing it the first time. Like, I almost peed my pants when I was watching it. I found it very, very scary, so... in particular, there's a couple of scenes that I found really disturbing, and one is when, you know, one of the Deadites jams a pencil into someone's ankle. I'm not going to describe in detail how it looks, but let's just say it's very realistic and disturbing. And then the whole scene at the end I found very scary too, when he's... basically all hell breaks loose and Ash is surrounded by all these Deadites that are attacking him from all sides. And he just, not to spoil it for those of you who haven't seen it, but he does defeat them, but he comes like that close to getting like killed at the end. Like, he literally has it coming at him from every angle, and he just barely manages to escape with his life by the end. And the movie doesn't really end. Instead, it just, you know, it has this conclusion that kind of just leaves you feeling like, oh, you know, even though Ash escapes at the end, he survives till the dawn and he gets out of there. Just, you know, just as you think all is well, you see this evil force rushing towards him, and then he's like, ah! And then it ends like that. So, and of course it goes on to part 2, Evil Dead 2, and Evil Dead 3, Army of Darkness. So maybe I'll review those later, but they're really nothing like the first one. This one was the scariest. It was also the goriest out of the 3. So, lots of blood, lots of gore, lots of humor, you know, lots of atmosphere. Just a really entertaining film and a total cult classic that, you know, you can just kind of watch over and over again, and it's always entertaining. A great movie to watch around Halloween. Just pure entertainment, and a really great horror film for any lovers of the horror genre. So, my favorite horror film, The Evil Dead. And that will be in honor of Halloween, which is tonight, October 31st, 2013. So I hope you enjoyed that. Happy Halloween, everyone! Have a good one. I'll be posting another review soon. Bye-bye.